Hey, Tej here. Today we're taking a look at technical analysis for US government bonds for the 10-year yields. I'll cover web analysis with Elliott Wave Theory and provide multiple scenarios price may take and explain why I prefer one count over another. This time it's going to be a bit different video as I haven't covered US government bonds or the US bonds at all in my channel before, and I really haven't even looked into those with Elliott Waves in mind. So keep this as more of a demonstration rather than any kind of advice on how you should be looking into this. But what I wanted to most focus on is the current structure that we are in here since the lows of March 2020. But before that, let's take a look at the higher time frame structure that we can somewhat explain with the with Elliott Waves. Don't mind about all of these things, all the labelings. The thing that I wanted to focus more on is the RSI here. We had the lowest low here on RSI, giving us some kind of signals on 86. Since then, again, we had a very high RSI reading. Again, we are on weekly time frame here. And this basically, to me, is still the highest RSI here on weekly. Now, if we are going to go monthly, then there is going to be a different story. But still, that area here was high on weekly. If we are looking at this monthly, then this whole structure falls a bit apart. So I feel like we want to be looking at weekly as it has way more data than the monthly one. So yeah. For me, it is possible that we have this as a three-way structure into W, three ways into X, and then another three-way structure here into the wave Y, ending this, whatever this was. Now, I'm not tracking this too well. I feel like either this is the start of this whole thing, but again, it doesn't have the proportions. So maybe, again, we are just lacking too much data here to make any kind of sense what this is. So let's leave it at that. This is just a count that could explain some of the parts of it. It does not overall matter. To me, this looks very overlapping. It does not really feel too impulsive to the downside. We have a lot of overlap here with all of these structures. So to me, this whole thing looks very corrective, unfortunately, for the rest of the markets. But again, that is the way I see it at the moment. Now, generally, what is very meaningful here is that we had some kind of resistance area here with these previous peaks, and we tapped into it once here and twice. We broke through, got back test below, and then now continue into the upside. And that is very basic, not Elliott Wave stuff. So taking out the previous structures, even on SMC, we would have this as the as a peak, and then we would close through it and creating break structure here, and this would be a low to watch now. And as well, again, basically on a higher time frame, we would be looking for other significant breaks. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the current count that we have here, and this does feel impulsive. Now, I'm not going to go lower than 4-hour time frame. Well, maybe you should even start on daily here, as it is again for a couple of years already, 2.5 years since the March lows, March 2020 lows. So in here, I would again start to count from very lows as a 1 and possible 2 here. 2 has to be here because again we can't place 2 here as we have taken out the lows here. And if we want to have that impulse wave count, again we start from lows. So this is again 1, 2. A 1, 2, just because again, even though this is larger, I don't think that it is too good of a look of having this as a third. We could argue that we have some kind of structure like this, where this would be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then this would be just a wave 1 and then 2. At that point, we don't really get a good looking structure afterwards. But I feel like it could be argued that that is the structure. Also, if we are looking at this retracement over here, we would have this as an A, B, and C. So overall, if I'm closing this, we would have a count something like this. And this would be the last leg that we would be going upwards. Sure, this is way more bullish on the markets, not that much on the bonds itself, and we would now start to correct this whole structure that we started here. Now, what I don't like about this is, again, the proportions. If we are looking at the wave 1 size, comparing it to the rest, it doesn't make sense time-wise. Of course, it is possible, but definitely not my preference. This is way better looking in my opinion. We have nested 1-2 structures here, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and 1-2. Way better looking structure in my opinion. Even though we are getting these nested patterns here, the structures of the lows are telling me that, okay, this is getting impulsive, and this feels like it is has more momentum going upwards now. Even at this moment, we have created the highest high on RSI on daily. If we're looking at a bit lower time frame, 4 hour, because again, we want to be looking at the thirds before here. We have some peaks here, third of third. I feel like this is third of this third, of this third, of this third, and of this third. Basically, having the highest RSI on 4 hour would make sense. So we would have a comparison point all the way down here. I'm not quite sure how this would be the third here on structure wise. I feel like it looks way better as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but yeah, you get the point. Highest RSI should be at the third of third of third of third, at least on this case. So in here again, another third here, ending this fifth of the lower time frame, and then having 3 pull back into the wave 4, and now we would be looking for most likely, if we're zooming in a bit, I think this is most likely a wave 4 at the moment. We have had these divergences happening here, but we did not really have a good looking wave 4 here. Now, it doesn't mean that much here, because again, if we are looking at the previous structures here, well, wave 4 was this size, so, and wave 2 was this size. So there is some kind of potential that wave 4 is again this size, but if we are looking at this possible wave 2 here, I feel like that is wave 1 and that is wave 2, and then another wave 1, 2, and then, well, I'm not going to be counting this mess. But yeah, you get the point. Highest RSI here giving us the signals that it could be a third of third, and then we would have some kind of divergences falling off before creating that last fifth, creating this divergence here when the price breaks these highs, giving us that divergence that we can be looking for downwards again. And once that happens again, we should have a bit larger correction in mind. We already had some kind of correction here, and that is the size that we should at least have, because this is again higher time frame. So for in here, we would be looking at this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, again, I wanted to look at this lower time frame just for once on 1 hour, and looking at this definitely feels like it is A, B, and then looking for that C wave. At the moment, this definitely looks like a good looking impulse wave, 1, 2, 3, lowest RSI here, and now we would be getting that fifth, taking out these current lows, creating that divergence here on price and RSI. If we are zooming out a bit, we can see that how well this one-to-one extension of ABC is lining up with the most common retracement, which would be that 38.2, if I have it placed correctly. Yeah, give or take, right there. Around the 3.5% area. And yeah, that to me feels like it is the area to look out for. And then I would be expecting again that fifth to be taking place, fifth and third, and then again that larger correction to be taking place. But again, we'll look into that once this happens, and if we are getting this break. I've got a couple of different alerts here set, so we could be looking for some kind of dump in the markets once this again happens. But I feel like that is pretty much all I wanted to share on government bonds. This definitely is the one I basically wanted to share, that there is one more low here before, again, most likely another rally upwards before taking a larger dump. But we'll see. If you made it this far into the video, I would appreciate the likes. Links to my free Discord server in the description below, and for now I thank you for watching and hope you have an amazing rest of the day. See you in the next video, bye bye.